Yeah? Okay. Text 39. Samvatsarante hi bhavan ekaratram maheshwaraha ramsyati apatyani chate bhavishyanti aparani boho. Oh, my dear king, you will be able to enjoy with me as my husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children one after another. Although Urvasi, Srila Prabhupada says, had adversely explained the nature of woman, Maharaj Pururava was very much attached to her, and therefore she wanted to give the king some concession by agreeing to be his wife for one night at the end of each year. So basically, she couldn't help him become more conscious of what a duty his duty should be. But because he's so attached to just wanting to be with her. So I guess she felt compassionate, and so she said, okay, we'll meet once a year. Text 40. Antarvatnim upalakshya devim sa prayayau purim punastatra gato dante urvashim viramataram. Understanding that Urvasi was pregnant, Pururava returned to his palace. At the end of the year, there at Kurukshetra, he again obtained the association of Urvasi, who was then the mother of her heroic son. Text 41. Upalabhya muda yuktaha samuvasa taya nisham atainam urvasi praha vipanam virahaturam. Having regained Urvasi at the end of the year, King Pururava was most jubilant, and he enjoyed her company in sex for one night. But then he was very sorry at the thought of separation from her. So Urvasi spoke to him as follows. Text 42. Gandharvam upadave mams subhyam dasyanti mamiti tasya samstuvatastusta agnistalim dadurnirpa urvashim manyamanastam so buddhyata charanvane. Urvasi said, my dear king, seek shelter of the Gandharvas, for they will be able to deliver me to you again. In accordance with these words, the king satisfied the Gandharvas by prayers, and the Gandharvas, being pleased with him, gave him an Agnistali girl who looked exactly like Urvasi. Thinking that the girl was Urvasi, the king began walking with her in the forest, but later he could understand that she was not Urvasi, but Agnistali. So basically, he just wants to be with his former wife and not the imitation. Maybe it's a robot.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
They created, so it's like a robot. Yeah. Basically, he's blinded, no? He's very attached and very blinded by love. And then when this personality was brought, and he thought it was Urvasi, but actually it was not her. He could understand that. Text 43. Stalimnyasya vane gatva grihan adhyayato nishi pretayam sampravrittayam manasi traya avartata. King Pururava then left Agnistali in the forest and returned home, where he meditated all night upon Urvasi. In the course of his meditation, the Treta millennium began, and therefore the principles of the three Vedas, including the process of performing yajna to fulfill fruitive activities, appeared within his heart. It appears that this karma kanda thing is been through Pururava is been activated. So they do yagna to get what they want. Yeah, this is karma kanda. So Prabhupada mentions that while Pururava was meditating upon Urvasi, the Treta Yuga began, and therefore Vedic yagnas were revealed in his heart. So he is very special also, although he seems to be so madly in love with the woman. He's at the same time he is the person by which the personality of Godhead brings about the process of karma kandya yagnas. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, what is karma kandya? Prabhupada explains nicely. In other words, karma kandya yagnas are meant for sensuous persons, whereas yagna should actually be performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's a fact, because people do karma kandas for their own reason they want to do. But generally we do fire yagna is to please the Lord. You can see the same thing can be used positive or negative. Obviously, those who are wanting to enjoy will think it's positive, win-win. But actually that's not what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So then Prabhupada quotes the famous verse from the 11th canto, Yagne Sankirtan Praya Yajantihi Sumedasa. So Sankirtan Yagna is the most important thing for us, so, which is why every day we need to chant. We should build the strength. In the beginning you are shaky in chanting, then you build it to a point where our Acharya for this Kali Yuga age, Srila Prabhupada said, 16 Brahman. Once you can chant systematically and regularly, then you will also, when you have free time, you will chant more. You keep chanting more. You'll find that. And that means you have some taste and you want to increase chanting. If you have no taste, you are only thinking of putting the bead back down. So one time Prabhupada was in front of his disciple, he was chanting, and then he put the bead back and said, huh?
Done for the day.
Yeah, done. Yeah. It's like, oh, I don't want the chat. I don't want this. That's how Prabhupada. That's it. I'm done. So he was kind of sarcastic to tell us that's not the right attitude, So we should have, whenever there's free time, Prabhupada says what? Chant. Yeah, chant. So we should chant. If you cannot read, you cannot do other devotional practice, then if you have free time, you should chant, Don't go and do other things that are not conducive for devotional service. Yeah. Slowly you have to get away from those that are, like for example, you can make a vow on Kartik time, because most people want to take vows. Instead of saying no sweets and so on, say no YouTube for 1 month. Like
Social media. No social media.
Yeah, no social media for 1 month. Huh? Yeah, then it should be always, but if you can do 30 days, then you can do for another 30 days. Yeah. Yeah, because we have conditioned ourselves so much into all the social media, we cannot give it up. Yeah. Okay, so therefore, when we have to uncondition, which is what Prabhupada says, right? Brainwashing. People say we brainwash. It's true, we brainwash. because it's dirty. Yeah. So Treta Yuga is coming. That means Satya Yuga. Generally, there is Sandhya, no? They have they overlap. So this is the period. Treta Yuga is starting, and the new the Yuga Dharma for the age is coming. So that's how he's teaching people how to do yagna. Text 44, 45. Stalistanam gatosvattam shami garbam vilakshya saha tena dve arani kritva urvasi loka kamyaya urvashim mantrato dhyayan adaranim uttaram atmanam ubayor madhye yattar prajananam prabhu. When the process of fruitive yagna became manifest within his heart, King Pururava went to the same spot where he had left Agnistali. There he saw that from the womb of a shami tree an aswatha tree had grown. He then took a piece of wood from that tree and made it into two aranis. Desiring to go to the planet where Urvasi resided, he chanted mantras, meditating upon the lower arani as Urvasi, the upper one as himself, and the piece of wood between them as his son. In this way, he began to ignite a fire. So amazing, huh?
So I was thinking that
Yeah.
the Treta Yoga Dharma came through Pururava.
Pururava.
Lord Chaitanya brought the Yoga Dharma for chanting.
Chanting in
Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga. Yeah.
It has to
Mahaprabhu.
come through a person.
It has to. Someone must be either empowered or the Lord himself comes. Yeah. Yeah. So he chanted he knows mantras. He's trained to do many things, and he wanted to have. Prabhupada says he wanted to have children continuously by the womb of Urvasi. So he's just overwhelmed, by sexual desire. So much lust he has. Uh, instead of thinking of Krishna, he's thinking of his wife, and then he's churning the stick and making fire. Text 46. Tasya nirmantana jato jata veda vibhavasuhu trayasa vidyaya rajna putratve kalpitas trivrit. From Pururava's rubbing of the aranis came a fire. By such a fire, one can achieve all success in material enjoyment and be purified in seminal birth, initiation, and in the performance of sacrifice, which are invoked with the combined letters A, A, U, M. Thus, the fire was considered the son of King Pururava. So he brought the yagnik fire. So Prabhupada says, according to Vedic process, one can get a son through Siman, Sukra, or one can get a bona fide disciple through initiation, Savitra, or one can get a son or disciple through the fire of sacrifice, Yagna. Thus, when Maharaj Pururava generated the fire by rubbing the aranis, the fire became his son. Either by Siman, by initiation, or by Yagna, one may get a son. The Vedic mantra Omkara or Pranava, consisting of the letters A, U, M, can call each of these three methods into existence. Because the Om, Pranava, is Krishna himself. So therefore you can chant and get whatever you want. Therefore the words Nirmantanach Jataha indicate that by rubbing the aranis, a son was born. So it could be Aha Vaniya, Garha Patya, and Dakshinagni. 3 ways. Text 47. Tena yajata yagnesham bhagavantam adokshajam urvasi lokam advichan sarvadevamayam harim. By means of that fire, Pururava, who desired to go to the planet where Urvasi resided, performed a sacrifice by which he satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, the enjoyer of the results of sacrifice. Thus he worshipped the Lord, who is beyond the perception of the senses and is the reservoir of all the demigods. Bhaktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram. 510 Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Nyatma Mam Shantim Richati. Yeah. So if you want to go to anything you want to do, actually, whatever your desire is, whether material or spiritual, one should always worship Supreme Lord. Akama Sarva Kama Moksha Kama Udari Tivrena Bhakti Yogani Yajate Purusham Param. Right? By doing that, it becomes purified. Your desires will be purified. But if you have no Krishna in it, then the desire becomes more and more. It just keeps growing. Just like ghee, you drop ghee into fire, the fire won't die. It keeps getting more and more. Fire is like our desire sometimes. No matter how much you give to satisfy, after it burns through, it is looking for more to burn. Eventually your whole life is burnt. So one should be very careful how what kind of desires you want. The only desire that can satisfy completely suprasidati is devotional service. Completely. In the very beginning, in the first canto, right? Save pumsam paro dharma yato bhakti adoksha. Aitukiya pratiyata yayatma suprasidati. So pure devotional service is what we should aim to do. Of course, we all have different circumstances, but the desire should be pure. And so when the execution is sincere, then both are pleasing to the Lord. It's not just like I've done my duty, do some incense. It's not like that. That should be a connection. It's a personal connection. We should encourage that, and then we should also meditate on why I'm doing this. So when the Lord is satisfied, then your desires, whether it's material or spiritual, He'll satisfy you. But He'll satisfy according to how He wants to satisfy, not according to how we want. So by offering sacrifices to Vishnu, one can have sufficient rainfall, Prabhupada says. Yagnat bhavati parjanyaha. So when we do proper yagna, when we chant Hare Krishna, nowadays people don't chant, very few people are chanting. Therefore, maybe in Seattle they are chanting very nicely. So you got a lot of rain. And they all should go to other places where there's no rain.
Too much chanting.
Sydney people are also talking very well. In Sydney also.
Yeah. So anyway, devotees, when you're sincere, you go out, you chant. You can rain, or if you want to go on Harinam, you don't want rain. The rain will also move away. So it can happen both ways. But yeah, if you use it everything properly, and then the land will be happy to give us things. Bhumi Devi will be very favorable. Yeah, so then you can see the land is prosperous, country is prosperous very nicely. But now you can see the whole world, everything is chaos because of the impious activities these people are doing. Okay. Everything is possible, Prabhupada said, just by doing yagna. And so you see Pururava here very nicely. I mean, he is, but he whatever it is, he is used, he is the via media by which the Yuga Dharma, yagna is taking place. Yeah, so it's amazing. But of course, for us, the best yagna is not fire yagna, is the chanting. So we should always, if you have problems in life or whatever, best thing to do is Yeah, go sit in front of deities, just chant and say, look, I have difficulty. I have mental problems. I got, business problems, any problem. You sit down and chant. Eventually, you won't ask for anything. Yeah, because it purifies us. And then you can be peaceful. True peace will come when there's a connection, you know. But when you only praying for material thing for Krishna, then Krishna is like, you're not praying to have a relationship. Then you go with my Paramatma expansion. Then you get what you deserve. And then you sometimes wonder why I'm still suffering. Well, your sufferings are meant to make you,
Closure.
yeah, realize and come closer to Krishna. Yeah, you realize this is not what I really want. Yeah, that's why suffering is there. Sufferings to make you become more Krishna conscious. Sufferings to make you understand this is not your home. It's not your home. Yeah. No point. You can build a bigger house, a palace also. Still, it's not your home. Eventually, you'll die and go.
So that we can be detached.
Huh?
Is Krishna arranges to face suffering so that we can be detached?
Yeah, of course. Everything you go through in life is a lesson to learn. Actually, whatever you go through, each of us, when we go through life, we should, and if it's something that is distressful or even happiness, but distress is where we can contemplate better. So you could ask yourself why I'm going through this distress. What is the lesson that Krishna wants me to learn? So then you can meditate and pray to the Lord to reveal what is the lesson I have to learn. I am so mudda, I'm so dull-headed. I don't understand. You reveal to me. And then maybe through the scripture, you're reading something and say, oh, that's why I'm like this. But the revelation will come if you want to know the answer, right? Sometimes we suffer, but we think it is due to this person, due to that person, like that. But actually, it's not. All these personalities will come and go, over lifetimes. But it's not them, it's you. You have created such a journey in your life. Huh? So then you awaken your consciousness like that and say, no, it's not their fault. It's I have done some things. Let me find out what I can fix, how I can fix it. So one way is to take a humble position, because you can't change your karma like that. Only the Lord can nullify it or purify it. Huh? So therefore you approach and then you worship the Lord and say, just like Brahma finally realized when he stole the cow, he said, "Tattenu kampam susamikshamanam." So he realized, all these difficulties are coming. I will accept it because I know that I am your servant. And eventually you'll take me back. Yeah. So that way you don't get overwhelmed. But if you're going through, and all of us, you're going through something you cannot handle, sit down and ask yourself, what is the reason I'm going through this? Push everything away from your mind far, and then look carefully. Or have a board in your home and say, these are the problems I have. This is me. What is the relationship? And where is Krishna in this picture? And then, yeah, then you can understand, yeah, I may have to go through this. Sometimes you may have to go through so much difficulties. Eventually, just as you suffer, you will also enjoy. Exactly. So everything in this material world is temporary. So my suffering could be the whole life, but then I will come back next life, I may not have so much suffering. Or maybe all the suffering you're going through is your last life. Krishna is saying, finish it. And then, just like the child when Brihaspati said, right, come out now. So same thing, finish it. Finish all your karma. Krishna makes you go through, you suffer, everyone thinks, what's wrong with these devotees? They all die like this. But then you're going back to Godhead. So that kind of determination we have to have. Eke Kuru Nandana, one pointed, I want to go back. Okay. All right, text 48. एक एव पुरा वेदः
एकमेव पुरावेदः
प्रणवा सर्ववन्मयः देवो नारायणो नान्यः एकोऽग्निर्वर्ण एव च. In the Satya Yuga, the first millennium, all the Vedic mantras were included in one mantra, pranava, the root of all Vedic mantras. In other words, the Atharva Veda alone was the source of all Vedic knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, was the only worshipable deity. There was no recommendation for worship of the demigods. Fire was one only, and the only order of life in human society was known as Hamsa. So all these things came after Satyayuga, the worship of demigods and so on, from the mouth of Urvasi to Pururava, and then he started this Karma Kandya.
So sometimes we hear the original Veda was Yajur Veda. Here it is Atharva Veda.
You have to ask the scholars on this one. Yeah. Here Prabhupada writes is Atharva Veda. In this situation.
In this.
Yeah. I do not know whether Yajur Veda was the first one or Atharva Veda. All are considered Atharva.
No, I'm saying, no, I mean, the Prabhupada itself says, some say Yajur.
Yeah.
Oh, he says-
That's what he's asking. You know?
Yeah, okay. Some say.
So his point is which one? Is it Atharva or Yajur? So this one you have to ask scholars. Prabhupada says it doesn't matter. Atharva. But in this verse, it's Atharva, no?
Ah.
Yeah.
We have multiple things in Atharva. Ayurveda is one of them. It has all the sciences.
But the yagya is
Yajur.
Yajur, yes.
Yeah, all the processes, procedures,
all
Mm.
the details are in the
the
Yajur.
four are in Visual Veda. After that, four Vedas are subdivided by
Vyasa.
Oh, yes, Vyasa.
Yeah, but one school of thought is came from.
Doesn't matter. Best thing to do is chant Hare Krishna.
Maybe again in different religion.
It's possible, but I do not know this thing. You have to, maybe you listen to, what is that, Hari Parshad. He knows a lot of these things. Prabhu knows a lot. But Prabhupada says this, the Omkara is non-different from the Hare Krishna mantra. So for us, whatever you desire, just chant Hare Krishna. That's the main thing. Because our faculties, our intellect is not sufficient enough to understand these principles that are here. Yeah. So we can see, we may not be able to see the complete picture. We can see only parts of the picture. And then we think we know everything, but it's difficult. Here Prabhupada wants to tell us that the original Veda is one. Yeah. But then when you hear Brahma has 4 heads, they're all chanting together. Yeah. So then Vyasadeva then splits it into 4. Yeah.
That is recommended in first canto.
Yes. Yeah. And then again, also in the 12th canto, very clearly explained how he splits it and gives to his disciples to chant it. Yeah.
When go and meditate on the Veda, then Naraji came
Yes.
to explain.
Explain.
And then he made it for the.
Yeah. After that, he yeah. Narada came, that one is for the Bhagavatam, but he already divided already.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
but at that time Narada was not appearing.
Who?
On the
Narada?
advice of Naraji.
Then he rewrote the Bhagavatam. Actually. Yeah. Right. So basically here for us to understand is the Mahamantra is the main thing for us. Yeah. Everything that is in the Vedas, we don't have to find out which Veda to do what. You just simply chant the Mahamantra. Yeah. in this context, it is a matter of your faith. It's very important how strong your faith is. If it's very malleable and soft, then you will keep changing from Krishna. Then sometimes you will worship some demigods, and then your relative will say, "No, worship Hanuman," and then you run there everywhere, and then you have nothing, right? It's like in queuing, you queuing to get a ticket. Then you see one line moving faster, then they jump. And then the line will stop. And then this line will move. Then you jump again. Then people will say, get out from the back. Or in the highway also, when there's jam, right? You see, oh, these people move. Then you move, then they want to stay for half an hour, you stuck like that. So this is the situation in the material world. We don't understand things clearly. But Srila Prabhupada wants us to understand, yes, there's 4 Vedas, but his main point here is there's no difference between Pranava, Omkara, and the Hare Krishna mantra. So therefore, we can worship, but the other thing is the Hare Krishna mantra is to worship Krishna. And then we focus that on that. Not that you chant 16 rounds, after that immediately go to some demigod temple and do some yagna to get something. That means you have no faith in that, and which means you have more faith in the demigod thing. And so Krishna won't respond. He says, okay, it's good you're chanting. I'll give you some advancement, but I won't give you myself. So you will find that you come back next life also.
It's like that jumping. There's a nice video about a rat. As you said, going to one line and he's saying, oh, this is it, then the switch. Then he goes to actually the counter, and the counter closes.
Go to the next counter.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's our life, right?
Very nice.
Yeah. If you're intelligent, you will stop going, right? That's the thing about animals. They will keep trying. But if you're intelligent, you'll stop and watch. Why is it all keep opening and closing? And then you'll see the sequence, then you'll try to defeat the sequence.
So, Sumedas.
Yeah. Simply by chanting, we can get the mercy of the Lord. Because in Satya Yuga, as I mentioned in a few classes before, everyone can perform everything that is required and they can go back to Godhead in Satya Yuga. Generally, they all go back to Godhead. Because they understand the purpose of life more. All the religious principles are at the best, at the topmost. Yeah. Whereas here, everything is gone. Even truth is gone. Everything is very little. Purity is also very little. Truth is getting less and less. Supposed to be the only thing, but even then also gone. Yeah? Austerity, who's doing austerity? They will stay up watching some serial.
The fools, 4 legs.
Yeah.
The 4 fools.
Yeah.
3 have been cut down.
Yeah. Yeah. So no austerity. Then what is that? What else? Yeah. Very sad, no? No cleanliness. People don't even bathe. You can see they can drive car, putting perfume, and so you're like, oh, okay, If they were like Urvasi, they don't need that also. Yeah, that's all. So in Satya Yuga, everyone is like Brahmanas. Yeah, even the Kshatriyas will go under the Brahmanas and they can chant. Like Pururava here can chant, right? He chants the mantras and he starts the yagna process. There was only one fire, one varna, and that's what it means by human society known as Hamsa. They're all like Paramahamsas, almost Paramahamsas, yeah. There's only one varna. Everyone is topmost, yeah. Which means they're all in Sattva Guna. That's the understanding. And they can all meditate properly. So Pururava shows that principle. Text 49. Puru Ravasa Evasit Rayi Treta Mukhe Nirpa Agnina Prajaya Raja Lokam Gandharvam Iyavan. O Maharaj Parikshit, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, King Pururava inaugurated a Karma Kanda sacrifice. Thus, Pururava, who considered the yagnic fire his son, was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired. So, Prabhupada explains how in the three ages, like Satya Yuga, it's by worship, in Treta Yuga, it's by yagna, and in Dwapara Yuga, by deity worship, and in Kali Yuga is by Sankirtan Yagna, chanting the holy names. Yeah. So here you can see this Swayambhu Manvantara, this is the Treta Yuga, the beginning. Karma Kanda was started by Pururava. So every Treta Yuga, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the Karma Kanda path is started at the beginning of the Treta Yuga by different kings. Priyavrata in the cycle of 4 yugas, the others, yeah, like that. All right, thus end the Bhaktivinoda purpose of 9th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled King Pururava, enchanted by Urvasi. Okay, so any comments, reflections?
Pururava was not a normal person.
Pururava was not, yes, he is not. So we shouldn't think that he is like us, you
It's
know.
really starting the
Yeah.
Dharma, but still he had this vice, right? And so difficult to.
You can see,
reconcile,
yeah,
right?
that's
How
right. You,
somebody
yeah.
was at such high position and still have that place. So, we have to be so much more careful.
Yeah. So we do not know whether he went back to Godhead, no, but we know he did go to Gandharva Loka because that's what he wanted, his desire.
His son goes to Gandharva.
No,
So, Purura.
Pururava.
He did the fire sacrifice.
And then he went.
Then he went.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah.
As he deserved.
Yeah. Was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired. Yeah. So in the previous verse, you can see achieved. Raja Lokam Gandharvam Iyavan. So that means he achieved. The king achieved that. Yeah.
He's able to go to Gandharva
Yeah.
as he desired.
As he desired. So reflections.
That's why it's so we have tendency to read this and come to a conclusion, but you have to see that he is a person who is starting.
Yes. So yeah. On the one hand, we may think he is a bad person, he's a fool or something. But on the other hand, the Lord actually had empowered him to bring in the Yuga Dharma. Yeah. So one way he used that Yuga Dharma to go to a heavenly planet, but actually you're supposed to use it to please the Yagneshwara. Yeah. So that is a proper conclusion. But we can see if we make mistake, this is what happens.
So he started the Karma Kanda process.
Yes, he started that
All
also.
the
Yeah.
after.
But the way, the medium to do it is Yagna.
Yeah.
So that's what he brings in.
So in that case, why was this particular person chosen as the subject for?
He comes in a very auspicious and devotional lineage, very qualified lineage.
But the things that he's done, I don't.
Yeah, he may have problem, but he still is a very exalted person. Yeah, you know.
Because sounds like oxymoronic, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to see, you have to, sometimes you see a person may have good qualities and sometimes a bad quality, but the Lord only sees the good qualities. Yeah. But we see
bad qualities.
so. Yeah, so we should learn to see why the Lord picked him, because he has many wonderful qualities. But he has this problem, is just a sense enjoyer. But he wasn't using it to do bad, he just wanted to enjoy it. But he's led him, for this moment in this life, led him astray from the righteousness of going back to Godhead. So maybe one lifetime he goes there and then he'll come back and then he realizes I made my mistake. So they are very exalted. The sons in that lineage and the children, they are on a different level, huh?
Moon Dynasty.
Yeah, they're very exalted and they can easily please the Lord. The Lord has a special favor for this personality because he takes birth. Krishna takes birth in Puru Vamsa.
Just a paper.
Yeah.
So what is the summary of this lesson? What we learned from this whole chapter?
There are a few things, no, you can see. Let me see. That although a person may show bad qualities, that's one of the thing, right? He may have so wonderful quality that he can still please the Lord, right? And become yeah, thank you, as an instrument to bring in the Lord's desires also. So because the yuga cycle is changing, so the new dharma, the process of not chanting, the process of worshipping the Lord is through chanting now from Treta. Yeah. So then he is the one who's teaching everyone how to do that. Prior to that, there was no, they weren't doing it through yagna, rather they would meditate. Yeah. So he's used as that. So that means any one of us, the Lord can use us as an instrument. Yeah. But provided we have inclination and good qualities also. Yes, he has that. And then the other lesson to learn is we should control our senses. Yeah, both men and women. Yeah, otherwise you get like Pururava, miss the boat, right? You go to the airport and you're too late, so you have to wait or rebook and then it's so much headache. So material life is like that. If you don't take the Vaikuntha plane, then you have to take the United Airlines or something. Yeah.
So I'm just, wondering, like, say similarly, why would Lord have such a person, do that? Because we generally think somebody who's, bringing in any major yoga dharma or something like that will always be a pure devotee, kind of thing, right? That's the conception
Yeah.
we have. Is it okay to, is it right to think that maybe the Lord has arranged this way because that person may be more relatable to the common people, and then, they learn something. Otherwise, they feel like if it is a pure devotee, that's too elevated. I can't reach that anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Could it be
we
that
could
way?
postulate like that, but at the same time, you have to understand nothing happens without the Lord's sanction. So, what are his good qualities? You should ask. Not anyone can do. If that's the case, then why the Lord arranged for someone even more fallen than Pururava, right? By the same argument, but no, he comes from this very glorious lineage of kings who have always been focused in self-realization. So the only thing you can understand, at least my postulation would be that he was overwhelmed by his senses. Otherwise, he would also have aimed for it. He was already probably destined to bring the Yuga Dharma. He's already earmarked, but then he made a mistake in the other areas of his life. Yeah.
But still, his purpose was to get the Urvashi, right? His intention was not for the Yuga Dharma means something worshipping like the God, the Supreme Lord. But his intention was not to worship the Supreme, please the Supreme Lord, but his own senses.
Yeah, that's what I said, no? Because you're supposed to use that understanding that Yuga Dharma to go back, but he used it for karma kanda purpose, for his desire.
Still, Lord used him in his service. That's the thing.
And to add to this point also, like Ajamela is another example. Like Ajamela also he did all the things.
Yes, but he chanted
He
the
just chanted, just
Yeah.
to prove the potency of the.
holy name, yeah. But also it says that he was qualified in his previous life also.
Yeah.
Before he became such bad, he came to a point where he was so good in his practice of devotional service. Then he took a detour. Yeah. So then when he chanted, then the Lord put him back in there, and then he understood my goal is the right. Yeah. So maybe you don't see Pururava coming to do pure devotion yet, but you only see only part of his life. But he goes to continue the enjoyment because the Lord also allows him to enjoy that's what he wanted. So maybe after in Gandharva Loka he will learn. It is not that the living entity who goes to the heavenly planets will only enjoy and that's it. No. Some living entities will do devotional service in the upper planet. Not all of them, but there are. Yeah. Like Nalakuvara and Manigriva, right? After they got the darshan of Krishna, they went back to heavenly planet. But you think they're doing nonsense again? No, they are performing devotional service, and after that life, they will go back to God.
So essentially they are on the right path.
Yes.
So like habituates to do that to do.
Yes, yes.
Even though they're performing a but they're
Yeah.
still in the.
Yeah, well, still in the Vedas, it's still within the confines of the Vedas. So they're still doing the proper activities. You can say like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's only when you discard the Vedas, then you become adharmic. You become like Buddhists and so on, right? That's why, uh, what is that? God, I'm getting old. Lord Shiva comes as Sankaracharya. Yeah. So my worry's purpose is to bring everyone back to Vedas, accept Vedas. But everything is one. Yeah, but that way people could accept. Oh, okay, it makes sense. So they all start coming back. Whereas Buddha said, don't touch the Vedas because unnecessarily killing. So they were not following the Vedas. The whole idea was to bring, yeah. So that way it's better. Some more reflections, Prabhu?
Then I was sharing with Prabhu why
Hmm.
this incident was completely materialistic in appearing later in the Bhagavatam.
Hmm.
Right? It should be early in the gradual. I think it's just a warning saying that Krishna says last is the biggest
Problem.
problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You go to 10th canto.
Yes. You
So,
clear, get rid of, yes.
process,
Very nice realization. Yes, yeah. Yeah, one should have lust before going to the 10th canto. Yeah. Final reminder. Very nice. Because after that, it's all dynasty, not much storylines.
Krishna.
Yeah,
Underground.
yeah.
Also, the planetary system has been discussed, and as you brought up the point. So in the higher planetary system also this kind of things happen. So lust is not just here.
Mm.
So lessons to learn.
Yeah.
It's like liberation, right? I think it's like Bhagavatam saying, at this point of time, you do all these things to go to enjoy the heavenly pleasure,
All
or
liberation.
you want to get real liberation, you go to that.
Yeah.
And heavenly liberation, heavenly, as it says, Holy Spirit, so all these heavenly pleasures are temporary.
Yes.
Just vanish.
Yes.
Not one.
That one.
That's what Holy Spirit is trying to say.
Mm. Nice. He wants me to end. Anything else? Do you have something else to add? No. So we can finish here. We can have. All right, thank you very much. Gandhara, Srimad Bhagavatam. He's the most excited.
On the first we'll have a class. We'll have class for the day only. And
Tomorrow,
tomorrow there is class.
evening.
Every day there is-
7.
Tomorrow is 12th.
That is, yeah, 31st is now.
Morning, yeah.
30th is morning.
No, tomorrow evening, but 31st morning. Evening temple.
Temple program. No?
But yeah, I'm not saying that. 31st, no, it's not a holiday, right?
No, it's not a holiday. No.
Yeah.
It's not a holiday.
How they going to office?
No, I'm not working, I'm just.
Anybody? Anybody really on 31st working?
Working.
We can do 5 to 7.
No, I'll be there before, because evening flower will come, so
31st evening, it's 5 o'clock.
both temples, we are just going to say arrangements for it. So if really not working, then the morning is better, but.
So the program will start like 7. We can then we can do first the first. Because first lunch is at Ram Tulsi Mata's home.
On the 1st.
Class will be at our home.
Or then go to her place. On the 1st.
So we can have early class, then after lunch we can give. So
Where
9
on first?
class will be at my home. Lunch is at Ram Tulsi Mata's.
Okay,
So we can do 9 to 1
on first,
and then lunch and then break.
9.
9 to 1.
Then lunch, then
Then no class.
no class.
I mean, I am fine with class, but I don't know because devotees might have some service. What is that?
no, I think we have services after 9, 30, plus I think it's like straight from there, the morning.
Yeah, but it's with somebody else also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be done by 9:30.
Mine is up to 9%.
Okay, so 9:30 to 1:30. 9:30 to 1:30.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then lunch and then no class.
Second onwards, normal class will be evening or?
Yeah, because then second, third, and fourth, fifth there is no class.
Yeah.
Huh?
Chapters.
Yeah. 9 more.
So it's 9 months. For the New Year, Eve, have decided which for them.
What is
31st then. 9 to 1.
31st, then there is no class because
No, if you want to take, say,
5 to 7 we can.
3 to 6 o'clock.
I'm fine.
Not 3 to 5.
I have.
From 6 o'clock, that's what we are doing. So 3 to 5 is also. Okay.
3 to 5 is okay with everybody, then we can.
When?
31st.
31st. Okay, I'm okay.
I'm working with this.
Yes, but what?
What? What do you all say? 3 to 5?
Just take a poll from morning or evening, what people want.
Morning is also fine.
For me, it's fine, but for others. Because yeah, a lot of our devotees are working, right? So it's, you all are working, right?
I have to be there on a meeting from 11 to 11:30. After that, I'm people.
3 to 5. Okay, I'll put a poll. Based on that, we'll see. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow is